Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast, and it's a W night. We are in the Winners Lounge. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody, Delmendo, and Ryan Herrera with Joey running the ones and twos. Celebrate 18 runs, and I will admit, it did feel a little bit long, even though they scored 18 runs.
Brother,
18-8, the Cubs win. And Cody, they're back to the 500 mark. They are back to the 500 mark.
For the first time in 2 days.
Yeah.
It's better than saying it's for the
But
first
now
time
can
since
they
June
get
5th.
over the 500 mark?
It doesn't matter. Season's over.
Cody has declared the season over. He's finally on board with that. And so now,
I mean, they should get over the 500 mark this series.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
should that be the new goal, finishing the season over the 500 mark?
I guess. Yeah.
If the season is technically over in your eyes?
Just finish strong, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it to be like they finish strong, don't make the playoffs, and then it's like there were obvious concerns with this team throughout the year that shouldn't go away even if they do finish strong. But finishing strong, giving themselves a chance, it's better than the alternative of not finishing strong. Which is also possible.
It'd be better to see them finish the season above 500 and strong because of their easy schedule. I mean, at the All-Star break, they were like, it was very much noted by all the math nerds out there, the Ivy League nerds, that the Cubs had like the easiest second half schedule in the National League the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, it would, not that it really matters to me, but like if they play well enough to finish over 500, great, they should. And then we'll sit here and say, oh, they should have won 95 games instead of, 84 or 85 and miss out because you don't have a tiebreaker with whoever the hell you didn't pass. So can't wait for that day. I'm not trying to be a downer here. I also didn't get to do yesterday's show, and I'm still mad about yesterday's show, but they did win 18-8 tonight. The offense looked good. PCA looked awesome. Amaya, I swear to God, we might as well just assume maybe they injected steroids into him. I don't know. I don't care. Steroids are awesome. Bring them back.
We're going to talk about him in a second, by the way. We do want to give a shout-out to all the new diehards out there. Today's diehards that are brand new, Dennis, Jake, Aaron, Rob, and Patrick, and DFW Susie says she's a double diehard now.
Double diehard.
Double diehard.
She's in Dallas.
Yeah, double diehard. Sign up through Dallas. DLLS launch today.
Is she going to be a troll in the Rangers podcast YouTube chat? Is she gonna be like Omar in our chat?
Maybe. It'll be fun.
She's going to be the Dallas Omar. That's going to be her handle.
Yeah. Cubs don't know how to develop players.
Ricketts,
spend money. Yeah. Except it'll be like something related to the Rangers.
Corey for a $2 super chat. I'm still mad about that Marlins loss.
It was
that loss, Cody'd still be on board.
Yeah,
He'd still be a hoper.
Well, they'd be 2 games above 500 today.
It was an opportunity to sweep a bad team, to take advantage of it, and that's what has caused Cody to wave the white flag.
That's
and it's not that I'm not happy they won 18-8. It's a nice win. Mitch Keller, he's solid. The fact that you hit off him today, that's good. Coming off yesterday's loss with how bad the offense was, I did not expect them to score 18 runs tonight. But the Braves are destroying the Twins right now, and you need the Braves. Like the 2 games the Braves lost last week, as in yesterday and whatever other day that they lost, is also the same days that the Cubs lost too. So you didn't gain ground. You went 4-2 and didn't gain ground. So it's just like you needed to go 5-1 and to at least get over 500 going in this week. And who knows? if they win like 8 or 9 in a row, like Brendan tweeted before the game, sarcastically, then perhaps maybe there's some life. But like,
there it is. There it is.
You're not letting me finish.
Here's the first one.
You're not letting me
Ray of
finish.
hope.
You're not letting me finish. It's not even hope. I'm just saying that like they have to sweep teams, dude, to do that.
Yes.
And if you can't sweep the Marlins, you can't sweep the Tigers. You know, I guess this is a great opportunity against this Pirates team that's been playing really bad in the second half. You know, and then the Nationals this week, and the Nationals are a scrappy bunch that just called up Dylan Cruz. I just don't see it. I see them winning. I could see them easily winning these 2 series against these 2 teams, but I just feel like it's just not going to be enough, and it's their own fault that they dug themselves this hole. So I'm not trying to take anything away from what happened tonight. And tonight's game was awesome. We got to see some awesome developments, and that's basically all we have left for the year. So.
Did you notice 8 stolen bases? For the first time since 1911.
Obviously, we watched them steal a lot of bases, but I
never added up to 8 in my head.
To 8. Yeah, it's the first time since 1911. You said?
Yeah, 1911.
Yeah, I mean, right there. I don't remember what inning it was when PCA takes second and then takes third right within 15 seconds. It was like,
Yeah,
there you go. It was a good day to steal on him. And then Ballinger got one, Nico got one, and Hap got 2, I believe, something like that. I don't remember what the other one is. Maybe Seiya.
I don't know. I can't add up 8 in my head, but when I saw that tweet from Megan Montemurro, I was like, what?
2 for Hap, 1 for Horner, 3 for PCA, 1 for Ballinger, and 1 for Seiya. There you go. That adds up to 8. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of another thing that we talk about with this team is just with they don't have a ton of just like game-changing slug in the lineup. Like they have guys that can hit home runs or whatever, but they don't have that like huge 40 home run guy on this team. And so they do have to find more ways to manufacture runs when you can't consistently count on one swing changing the game, right? Yeah. And so stealing bases, like especially a guy like PCA, I mean he leads the team in stolen bases now. I think he's 26 for 27 or something like that. Yeah, I mean he's that's the kind of things that this Cubs team needs to do offensively is just continue to push the envelope, steal some bases, take the extra base on what would be a single, pulling a guy away from second base, take that extra base or go first to third, whatever. Small things like that is when you don't have the pop throughout the lineup. Small things like that goes a long way towards helping you score 18 runs. And I mean, they had 12 before Rowdy Tellez came in, I think, right? So like they did put up a lot of runs without facing a position player.
It's not every night the Cubs have had 2 home runs in a game. It's not every night they've had a grand slam from Dansby Swanson. It's not every night that they've had 21 hits in a game. But it is becoming more often that the bottom of the order, this is something to watch the last month of the season, that Amaya and PCA continue to get it done. That might be the thing we watch for the next 4 weeks. That might be the thing to focus on, that and call-ups when it happens. Yeah. But, like, seeing that continue or at least stay on a good level would be a positive way to finish off the season. Yeah. And if you can finish this season on a positive note without making the playoffs.
Yeah, and I put a bunch of stats together. Joey, do you got those? We were like scrambling up to the minute.
We had to update them every 5 minutes.
because they batted again in the 9th. So I believe these are correct. But so this is Pete Crow-Armstrong since July 27th, right around the time when he did a little mechanical adjustment, added a leg kick that's obviously very noticeable. And so this is his last 27 games.
I love that picture of him.
Yeah. He's hitting .311. He's got a .927 OPS, 15 RBIs, 15 runs, 13.1 strikeout rate, 13.1% strikeout rate, and 8 stolen bases. And I believe this is over like 96 or 7 plate appearances. So a pretty solid sample size. Actually, it's over 99. So pretty solid sample size for him. It's not, and I wrote about this with Amaya, but also like with PCA, I've talked about this, like one really strong stretch doesn't make a great career, obviously. No. But these are like the improvements that we've been kind of waiting to see out of Pete. Even since last September when he came up and struggled at the plate, earlier in the year when he came back up, struggled at the plate. But it was always kind of like the people that were calling him a bust and giving up on him like in June was always crazy to me. It's like the dude's 22 years old. It's gonna take some time for him to just get acclimated to the big league level, to be able to start hitting at the big league level. And over these 27 games, he's the bats come around. And the goal, as you said, over the last month, like that's the goal, is to see that continue, to see him not go through another long stretch of struggles. But like this has been a really strong stretch that gives you a lot of hope that he's starting to kind of figure it out over here at the big league level. And then same thing with Amaya. We got Amaya stats as well. Joey, do we got those?
I'll be honest, I had given up on Amaya.
A lot of people did as well.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think it was gonna work out.
Yeah.
I just said that I said that maybe he's at a backup, but I didn't say that they should DFA him.
Yeah. Well, so here's Amaya.
No, I never said DFA either.
Well, you said you gave up on him. So that was basically
I gave up on him being like a really good catcher. Like he was their top prospect at one point, correct?
Okay, so then maybe we're around the same level. But
and frankly, this is a great stretch that Ryan's going to tell us about, but it also doesn't eliminate the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, that's with both of them. It's like you got to continue on the path. So, Joe, can we bring those back up, please? Right as I was about to go. So this is Miguel Amaya since July 7th. It's his last 31 games. Obviously, the stretches of like the dates are different because you had the All-Star break in there. Miguel Amaya doesn't play every day as a catcher. But this is his stats since July 7th, which is right after they gave him like a 3-game break, work on his own mechanical adjustment, eliminated the leg kick, more of he lifts the front heel, a little bit of a wider base, that kind of stuff. But since then, 352 average, 991 OPS, 20 RBIs, 15 runs, 11.9% strikeout rate, and 5 home runs. Again, another guy that you're looking at, I think he's at like 100 plate appearances, that stretch for him. Another great 101 plate appearances. Another really great stretch from a guy that you need to see that out of. That we've been waiting to see it out of because earlier in the year, it was him, Yan Gomes, even Tomas Nido when they got him wasn't like the numbers from the catchers. The numbers from the catchers were like among the worst in baseball offensively, and obviously he was a part of that. But now you're seeing over this last month and a half, his last 31 games, that he's made an adjustment, and that's helped things click for him at the plate. As I said with Pete, you want to see that continue over the last month of the year, but it's another great stretch where you're like, this guy's 25 years old. He missed a lot of time developing the minor leagues. Like it was going to take him some time to kind of start figuring things out at the big league level, and this is a sign that that's starting to happen. It's
just on a nightly basis when they win, you see what a difference 2 home runs in a game can make for a team. You see what a difference the bottom of the order doing this could have meant if it was happening all season or half of the season, right? Or Dansby showing you some power. Seiya showing he had 4 more hits tonight, didn't he? Suzuki? I mean, he was like 4 for 6.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, those are things that have kind of been missing all season long, in definitely in large sections. So it's nice to see it in one game, but you can see how each one of them would have impacted this season had they gone the other way.
Yeah, I mean, in relation to Pete and Miguel, everyone talks about Amaya's batting stance change. He took away the big leg lift or whatever, and it's more of like a toe tap now.
No, he like lifts the front heel.
Yeah,
it's like it's not much of a stride, it's a wider base.
Yeah,
and kind of uses the hips a little bit more. I think is what it looks like.
You have that, and then I think Pete's is a little bit like you can't even like really tell nearly as much, but I feel like he just is a little bit more set at the plate, doesn't move the bat nearly as much as he did. But I think for Pete, it was always all about just him getting the at-bats. Like he had to get the at-bats, and like this is how the Cubs are going to have to do things with some of these other guys too. Maybe it won't take nearly as long with guys like Shaw and whoever else, because I think they're more established offensively than they are defensively. And PCA for sure coming up was more about defense and the speed, and we questioned the offense. But this is all part of the process of going through it with these young guys, and that's why I didn't waver on him either. So these are the 2 dudes that I'm paying attention to this last month. Whoever else they call up, any of these other young pitchers, whatever, like. This is what they need. I know no one will care if the games matter or not. In some ways they do matter because they are technically still in the race. And we've seen crazier things happen. But these 2 things happening is a massive development here in the second half of the season. So, I'm happy for both of them because this team was just so hard to watch play offense before they got, started hitting well, or at least at some sort of league average level, and to see them take those adjustments and show results.
We'll talk more about them. We'll talk about the Drew Smyly DFA move that happened tonight as well.
Waivers,
excuse me. Waivers, same thing. Facts. Don't let facts get in the way. First, tight money line splits. That's facts. Tight money line splits, Cody. Those are facts.
Yeah.
Tight money line splits.
Yeah.
Where do you get them?
At Circus Sportsbook.
Yeah,
I had Ian Happ to get 2 total bases tonight. He got in his first 2 at bats. He almost hit a homer tonight too. You guys know that Ian Happ's from Pittsburgh?
What?
No.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
They don't.
Yeah, Ian
I
Happ.
don't think they've ever said that.
Yeah,
no one's made that connection before.
Yeah, Ian Happ's from Pittsburgh.
Huh.
And if you didn't know, chat, Ian Happ's from Pittsburgh. You know, and that's why I took him on Circa tonight, and it won me some money. You could have bet the Cubs tonight. I bet the line wasn't too bad, but I bet they had the best odds on Circa because they strive to have a -110 split on their menu, unlike other sports books, which may use -115 or -120 splits. They keep as little money as possible in large market bets, especially compared to other books. They don't limit players based on their winnings either. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do limit winning players. They encourage bettors to download and explore all sports betting apps available so they can compare the lines from each sports book. There are real people behind their brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion as well. Unlike other books who use chatbots, all aspects of the app are being ran by the same team that runs the main Circa Sportsbook at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also, be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. We got our Takeover /Friday 120 Club coming up, not this Friday, but the Friday after.
September 6th.
Yeah, we only got 4 Friday 120s technically left. They hang out with us there. Shout out to them for doing that. If you're someone you may know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyoureallywinning.com.
Shop summertime savings going on now at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram and save on the perfect new vehicle for you this August. Score new lower prices across their huge inventory taken during the Make This the Summer event. For a limited time, get 0% financing for 36 months on most of their new 2024 Jeep models or shop more than 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you during each step of your car shopping journey with Ray's Price Promise. The numbers you're hearing on the podcast are what you can expect to shop in-store and online. That's because Ray's Price Promise means no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees. And since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry into Ray CDJR today and shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories, then drive home with more money in your pocket than you'd expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you got to check out the team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram because they are the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com, serving the community since 1963. I was thinking of Route 12. Condolences to our buddy Danny Rocket. His mother passed away last week, so he's going through a tough time. So a lot of Cubs fans know Danny. Shout out to him.
He's been on our show
a lot of people think about it. Yeah, oh yeah, he's done a couple songs, a couple jingles for us. And he's a good Cubs fan. Yes, Drew Smyly was placed on waivers, not DFA'd today.
Yeah, so placed on waivers, not designated for assignment, so like he could actually still continue to play for the Cubs. Like he could pitch tomorrow or something until like the process is resolved. It is irrevocable, so if another team claims him, he's with the other team. There's like some contender claims him, whatever. So were he to not get claimed on waivers, I believe he would I believe it's like the Hector Neris situation where he was placed on waivers like a Saturday, I think it was, then didn't get claimed, and then whatever the next game was, that first game against the Tigers, I think, he was designated for assignment and released. I would believe it's like the same situation where he's getting put on waivers now. If no one claims him, the Cubs may look to designate him for assignment, Smyly. and maybe release him in the same vein. But for now, it's just waivers. It's not a designate.
Well, this would be a nice way to dump some salary if that's what they're looking to do.
That's what they're looking to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure that's part of it.
It has nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
would,
it's like
would they say that? Would they say that? Most likely not.
No,
but.
they would not. But wink,
yeah,
wink.
let's just be honest about it. All right, that's what we're here for, right?
Right.
This isn't marquee. Shout out to those guys. Love you. However, let's just be honest.
All right. So here's what I was thinking. It was great. The Cubs scored 18 runs. We had Amaya. That was great. PCA was great. Great to see.
Yeah, and also like I gave those stats, but like Amaya was his first 4-hit game tonight, right?
Yes. He just had
5.
his first 3-hit game. Now he's got his first 4-hit game.
4 RBIs. Like PCA was 3 for 5 with like 2 runs. Obviously had 3 stolen bases and like
Amaya was on 5 times because he got hit by a pitch.
Yeah. So the number 8 and number 9 hitter in your lineup, like, and then Craig Counsell's talked about that too. How just having those 2 guys at the bottom of the order playing, like hitting the way they have been for so long, like how that just overall lengthens the lineup, improves the lineup. I think you've seen that over the last month plus. Just the offense looks overall better. They still have their games like Sunday, but it just overall has looked better, and you can attribute a lot of that to those 2 guys at the bottom of the order, just lifting up the rest of the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I think with whether it's Amaya or you're talking about Pete, I thought what Pete's like full value that you could see, and if he becomes a 20 to 25 home run guy, awesome. You hit a homer the other day, 437 feet. That sure shows the potential of a guy you could hit 20 to 25 homers. But I think it was whether it was the second or third inning. It was early in the game, and I think it was the Cubs' first run scored. Gets a 2-out hit, gets on first, then steals second, and then Happ drove him in. Then the next time he was up, he started the inning with a hit, and then he stole second and then stole third. And unfortunately, in that inning, the Cubs didn't score, and if they would have lost this game, I would have looked at that inning at why they lost the game. But they didn't lose, obviously. But like what I'm getting at here is like this guy is showing that he can, in the last handful of days, he can hit the ball over the fence. He can run around the bases in less than 14 seconds. And if he gets on base, he's just such a threat. He's such a threat, puts so much pressure on the defense. And so you're just seeing all the different things that he can do. And the Cubs just don't really have a guy like that. We sit here and talk about how the Cubs don't have any stars, but he's playing at a pace of like a star level type guy. PCA is, in my opinion. And like, I know it's not even been a full month. I understand that. But if he plays like this all the way through September, you can't sit here and look at me with a straight face and tell me going into 2025 that we shouldn't buy stock.
Well, you definitely see the potential compared to what we've seen prior to this, right? Like, this is the best resume he has for, listen, I am the guy.
Yeah.
Versus the other stuff. Jake Bunowski was on the chat earlier, friend of the show, and he said, we've seen a lot of guys flash at the end of the season and then fizzle off the next year.
That's
Talking
true.
about Amaya, did we think this is holding power? I don't know. As far as PCA goes, and you do have to worry about that with Amaya because the sample size of the other stuff is bigger than this is. But PCA was drafted in 20, and it got me thinking they're going to face Skeens on Wednesday versus Hendricks. If you went back and redrafted, took all the guys in the last 5 years worth of drafts, who would go one? Who would be the top 5 picks if you took all those? Because there have been some great young players to come out of the last 5 drafts already. If you went back, so let's just do a little exercise. We'll take 12 guys we put on the list. Adley Rutschman, Bobby Witt Jr., Skeens, Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, Corbin Carroll, Henry Davis, Sal Frelick, Jackson Merrill, PCA, Garrett Crochet, Mason Wynn. Get a pretty good list. How should we redraft this? If we're going to go today and we have we can do the first 5 picks, how would teams do it today? If they had all of those players from the last 5 years, I'm fairly sure that Bobby Witt Jr. would be number 1, but I could be wrong.
He'd be my first pick in that. I mean,
he's the most proven.
He's the most proven. I mean, he's probably going to finish runner-up in the AL MVP race this year. Yeah, Bobby Witt for me is the top of that list out of those 12 names. I think for me, there's no debate. Like Bobby Witt Jr. would be my top pick.
Are we all good with that? Is there anybody else, or do you want to go PCA, 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 PCA?
Well, I'll go PCA, PCA, PCA. No, I mean, I think if you were going to take a pitcher, number one, to me, it would be Skeens.
Yeah. It's just how high do you take a guy that's not an everyday player? Jake said the same thing. He would go Witt, Skeens, Gunnar. So do you think Skeens goes as high as number 2?
I do.
I think
and I think Crochet makes a good argument too, because he's like, I know he was out because of Tommy John last year, but he's came back this year, and he, despite being on having the defense behind him that's not good, and all the issues that they have with the White Sox, like Crochet's been one of the best pitchers in the American League.
I think the injury history for me would scare me off.
And
he's
a
left-handed.
He's a left-handed.
But it would scare me off top
too.
5 that he'd had the injury problem. So that's why I would say Witt. Now I could argue Skeens too.
I think
Rutschman
also makes a good argument. I mean, catcher is such an important position.
I think I go Rutschman number 2. I think I go Witt
number 2.
Rutschman.
I think those 4. Like I said, Witt is my number 1 in that list. But then between Skeens, Adley Rutschman, and Gunnar Henderson is like the next 3 for me.
I also think Jackson Merrill or Corbin Carroll also.
I think personally, after watching him postseason and pound the Cubs last year, there's a lot of great names on there. I think Corbin Carroll would earn a top 5 pick for me.
Yeah. Pete, realistically, Pete's not going to be on here because it's only been a hot month. But you can obviously see the intangibles, the tools that PCA has. That is the reason that we put him just in the discussion with this, because if he does blossom the way that he projects or how he looks, he could be just as good as some of these young outfielders. We could be sitting here in a year and a half, or even just this time next year, and comparing his numbers and Corbin Carroll's numbers, and comparing and debating with the guys at PHNX. Who's better? Okay, legitimately, they're both very similar players.
Yeah.
I just think PCA is a better defender, but Corbin Carroll's also fast. He also a left-handed hitter. He also has some power. He leads off for the Diamondbacks for most of the time. I know he's struggled the first couple months of the season, but he's the reason that the Diamondbacks have just been scorching hot here in the second half, in my opinion. So, and Mason Wynn, he's going to finish top 5 in Rookie of the Year this year, shortstop. But is he in the top 5 of this quote unquote draft? No, but he has there's so much. It's really hard. I mean, I don't know why we have Sal Frelick and Henry Davis in here personally, but that's just me. But the rest
I thought
of
you
them,
threw those names out.
Maybe Ryan did. I didn't.
You said Henry Davis.
I just said that he was the first overall pick in 2021,
Okay.
but I mean, he hasn't been very
good. We just put 12 names in there.
12 names. So a hypothetical off of what – it's always hypothetical.
Yeah.
Off of what Cody is saying, what if PCA had done this for 3/4 of the season? What if he had started slow, but in late May we started to see this guy? Would he be creeping into the conversation for you?
Well, the Cubs' record would probably be better.
If this guy that we're seeing now, though, does this for a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be challenging for him to do this over a full season, the numbers he's put up in this last 27-game stretch. But, if we're talking about, a 110 WRC plus guy, considering what he's got, what he does defensively and on the base paths, that's a pretty valuable player, in my opinion. So, and then anything better than that is just extra gravy on top of it, right? So, yeah, I mean, I definitely think you'd feel more confident in PCA just because that stretch would be longer than about a month. But again, when before this stretch started, All-Star break, I wasn't worried about PCA. I knew he's 22 years old. Like I said, it was gonna take time. I didn't think he'd be hitting like this over a 27-game stretch, but it's a sign that he's starting to figure things out at the plate. And even if he doesn't put up these numbers over an entire year, I think he could still be a good hitter over an entire year, right? And make you feel even more confident about it.
If I had to make a pick out of the top of all those draft picks, it wouldn't even be a player. If I had to do a player, Joey, I'd be picking my favorite beverage. Some beers can say they're brewed for baseball, but only Blue Moon is brewed by baseball. Beer and baseball just go together, and no beer goes better than the one that was literally born in a ballpark. Blue Moon, created at Coors Field in Denver. It's the natural choice all season long, summertime shy. Holy cow, it's going to be 98 tomorrow. What does that scream? Get the Blue Moons out of the fridge and start slicing up the oranges. Give me a Blue Moon to cool off. Nothing beats watching baseball, but, well, maybe lounging by the pool with a Blue Moon's not so bad either. An ice cold one. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for a new season. A beer this good only comes around once in a Blue Moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Bring the ballpark to you with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Get Blue Moon delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO to see your delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. They will be flowing at our Bears tailgates this year.
Absolutely.
Lots of Blue Moon.
Yeah. Let me tell you about Rugged Road. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. One of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers is their ability to always float upright, so you'll never lose a drink. Unlike other heavy-duty coolers, Rugged Road coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performance. They're crafted to handle the toughest environments, and their coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with any adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days, but oftentimes much longer than that. And they're pretty versatile, perfect for a variety of outdoor activities from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. They're reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code CHGO for 10% off. That's ruggedroadoutdoors.com, code CHGO for 10% off.
Fill it up with Blue Moon.
Can't go wrong.
Float down a river.
Can't go wrong.
What a way to spend a day. Back to the Smyly thing for a second. We'll talk about some other stuff that's been happening with the Cubs, but do you like the message that sends? Are you okay with that? To me, that's a white flag. Like, we're talking about waving the white flag, and I know you said, listen, realistically, it's down below 2%, but stranger things have happened. Do you like the message that sends to the clubhouse? We're trying to save a few bucks here. There's no question that Drew Smyly in the bullpen makes it a better bullpen, right?
Yeah, he's been solid, even if they're not all high leverage innings. Like, he's been pretty good this year for him.
I also want to see Daniel Palencia though,
and he's a lefty.
You know,
they don't have any.
It's the Cubs telling you we've moved on. We know we're not making it. We got to see these guys.
Like, whoever they call up, I expect to be a young arm that they have some upside that they foresee a future with this team, and I would rather see that. It kind of goes back to Braggs and the Bears guys arguing, should the Bears tank or should they try to figure out how to win? You know what I mean? Like, what in that year when they ended up luckily getting into the number 1 pick. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting here saying I want the Cubs to tank the rest of the year. They're too talented of a team to lose every game the rest of the year. But give me a reason to watch. Jack Neely's here, gave up a homer tonight. He was good in his last appearance. I'm interested in what he's doing. I'm glad that he got in there because eventually I hope Craig Counsell puts him in there in like the 6th or 7th inning of a 1 or 2 run game, and you see something that makes you think, okay, maybe this guy can do it because you're seeing in a big situation. He's come out in like blowouts. Mm-hmm. That's when he's come out. Ethan Roberts, this has been the same thing. Anytime he's come out,
he's gone like over a week without pitching.
Right,
a couple times
and he usually only comes out in low leverage. Not this Sunday, but the Sunday before against the Blue Jays, it was 1-0, and he came out and pitched. And I want to say that's probably the highest leverage I've seen him pitch since he came back up to the majors. But this is the thing: is I want to see these young dudes pitch in these quote unquote big moments, and I still think they are because again, it's not like they're 20 games under 500; they are at 500, and they in the clubhouse at least they are treating it as like they're trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're trying to get hot. They're trying to somehow, some way get in there, and so. Whether it's the Cubs telling you, like the front office telling you that they're waving the white flag or not, I want to see young guys in important situations, whether they are going to matter or not at the end of the day. So
I don't have a problem with being realistic, to be honest with you.
I personally don't care in general.
Well, I think with that, your point that you want to see the young guys in like those spots, like Craig Counsell is going to try to win every game. He's going to try to go whatever it is, 32 and
I know that.
But so with a guy like Jack Neely, until he earns that spot, you're probably not going to see him in high leverage spots. I mean, Porter Hodge is pitching in some of the most high leverage spots the Cubs have right now. He's a rookie, obviously, but he earned the trust of Craig Counsell to pitch in those spots. If Luke Little was healthy, he may be also in the same position, right? So I don't think it's about for Craig Counsell. It's not about playing the young guys or not. He's like they're 500. Like he's still going to try to win every single game. So unless Jack Neely, begins to earn those spots, those high leverage spots, you're probably going to see him more in blowout type situations, or they're down by a few runs, whatever. Like that's probably where you'll see him until he earns that spot.
Sure.
But by the way, to clear up exactly what the Smyly situation is, this is from MLB Trade Rumors. They did place him on waivers as reported by Bob Nightingale. He has not been designated for assignment and can continue to play for Chicago pending resolution of the waiver process. The placement is irrevocable, however, so Smyly would land with another team in the next 2 days if anyone places a claim. If Smyly goes unclaimed, the Cubs can keep him in the bullpen for the remainder of the season. They do not need to release him or attempt to outright him to the minor leagues.
Right.
So
Braves.
Like I said, like he's waivers, someone claims him, he's with
Braves.
the other team.
Somebody that's been looking at it,
maybe
that's in it will say, we'll take him. That's what they're counting on.
But if nobody claims him,
sure,
he's still with the Cubs, and then they could decide to go to the Hector Neris route, designate him for assignment, and release him.
Interesting. In general, again, like, is it on, like, when you zoom out, does it look bad because it's like you're a big market team and you're trying to get under the luxury tax? I guess, but you're also losing. Like, if you're over the luxury tax, you lose out on certain draft draft picks and stuff like. There are. That's why they call it the luxury tax. Like, there are penalties of going over, and this team wasn't good enough to win the World Series this year. So it's like, why not try and not get those penalties taken away from you? You know what I mean? Like it's professional sports, man. Like, this is different if we're talking about college or high school or something. This is professional sports. Drew Smyly is in his mid 30s, like, and I've given him a lot of credit this year. He's been awesome. I can't believe that they didn't find someone to take him before the trade deadline. But
teams might have known that this situation was coming.
Possible, and weren't offering anything.
They don't have to give anything up because later we can just get them on waivers.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And I will say, like, that is a good point. Obviously, like with the luxury tax, and like if you're not competing, like maybe you try. I think it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you don't do that, obviously you're over the luxury tax, and then you started that penalty clock on a year that you weren't making the playoffs or whatever. Yeah. But on the other hand, it's like you're giving up like experienced relievers, like in a sense, from the outside looking in, like waving the white flag on the year when you're at 500. I think they might be 5.5 games back against the Braves again right now. I don't know if the Braves won or not yet today.
They were winning 9-1 when we came over.
So there you go. It's probably still at 5.5, which isn't like, I know the playoff odds are low, but they're not at 0. So
6.5 just because they don't have.
Well, the White Sox were winning when we came over here too, and they're not anymore.
That's true. But like I said, it's probably like it feels like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, because either way you don't look good no matter which kind of route you take if you're Jed Hoyer, because at this point, like, the fact that they could be over the luxury tax in a year that in a year that's gone this way, that's it's in itself is a little bit of a bad look. And then if you're giving up guys to get under their luxury tax, then you're like, well, why you shouldn't be having to do that right now, right?
Right.
It's not a great resume builder.
No, it's
intelligent spending. I was told
it's a situation he's not going to escape criticism for on either side.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw that after his Return to Wrigley. Javi Baez done for the season. Hip surgery. Hope that goes well. Cam Smith, number 1 pick. Already been promoted to South Bend after hitting a home run in, 6 straight games?
6 straight games, yeah.
6 straight games, and now he'll be in South Bend. So there's a chance for, you want to go see him in person. Live in Chicago. It's not that far away.
I mean, it's kind of like the Matt Shaw situation, right? He hit so well right after he got promoted that he finished the year in AA, right?
He did,
last season. So he was obviously forcing the issue down in Myrtle Beach and quickly got promoted.
You
up
hit
to
6
South
homers in 6 days. You're going to get yourself promoted. I'm asking for Casey, Shaw, Triantos, Ballesteros, all to hit 6 homers in 6 days, and maybe they'll get promoted.
Although Brennan Davis basically did the same thing and was not, and they waited too long, and then he got hurt. However, the good news is he homered in Arizona. Rich Biesterfeld had that for us.
Yeah.
That he hit a home run in Arizona. At least he's coming back, but
I can't believe he's actually playing, to be honest. Like, based off what was reported about the injury and everything,
right,
with like what they said the injury was, I was like, this guy's not playing the rest of the year, and here he is. So, it's just the Brennan Davis story has turned into just, I hope the guy turns out to put together a career. I don't think it will be with the Cubs, but I just hope he somehow, some way puts together a career. So, but
well, I mean, I feel bad for him. He was a top 100 prospect. He was the Cubs' top prospect, and all of a sudden his body, out of nowhere, his body's just completely failed him.
Injuries for this the 3rd straight season, right? That's been affected by injuries. Like, again, remember we were talking about it like when we launched. We're like, we want to see Brennan Davis up by the All-Star break.
Yeah.
We're like 2.5 years later. And
then I cried for it when he had like 6 home runs in 7 days or whatever it was.
Yeah. And I think he
like what, 2 months ago?
Yeah, I almost wept.
Yeah.
Right on the podcast. Please do it.
Please do it.
Give him a shot.
That's exactly what you did. In relation to Cam Smith, though, it is cool to see this type of development from yet again another first-round pick from the Cubs. And this is why I think we talk about this in many ways. We talk about, should we trade this guy and this guy so we can get, let's throw some names out that we've talked about over the last 2 years. Josh Naylor, Shane Bieber, Tyler Glasnow, all these things. Jordan Montgomery. Well, that was a free agent signing.
Oh, yeah,
but
that's right.
Whatever. The list of names goes on and on. The thing is, the biggest thing that as an organization or we as fans will never look back and give 2 shits if one guy goes on and does great or is just good. We won't give 2 shits if you just continue to develop and draft well on top of winning. People look back at the Quintana trade and we say, you should have traded for Verlander or, whatever. The reason that we look back at it more often than not is just because not only did Cease go on to be like an ace-type pitcher, but you also didn't develop anyone on the farm to replace him. That's the thing. That's the reason.
Yeah, and that's like that's the place they're trying to get to. Like we bring it up with like teams like the Dodgers who just seem to continue to bring up prospects all the time because they draft well, develop well, scout well, and then you have your big money contracts, but then it feels like the rest of the team keeps getting filled by young guys making their debuts. I mean, their pitching staff was decimated by injuries throughout this year, and I mean, I don't know how many wins they have, but they're one of the best teams in baseball still.
Right. So the point is I'm not saying that
Barb
we should.
You can't trade them all.
I'm not saying that we should just freely throw Ballesteros and Casey and Shaw and Triantos in trades for whoever. I'm just saying that you have to move talent to get real talent. If they were to actually be like in the Vladimir Guerrero trade rumors, like we tried to manifest, or the Josh Naylor trade rumors, or if they would have gone out and just gave Cade Horton for Emmanuel Clase last offseason, if you're able to continue to develop pitching, in the case of Emmanuel Clase, which is use him because this team doesn't have a real bona fide closer, then it probably won't hurt nearly as much down the road if you can continue to develop pitching, which I think the Cubs can. They've shown that they can do it. Would it hurt to see Cade Horton go because I think he has a high ceiling? Absolutely, but you still would have a bona fide closer. I'm not changing my mind on it. I still wouldn't trade Cade Horton for Emmanuel Clase, even though he was hurt this year. I'm not going back on that. I think he still has plenty of upside and plenty of reason or plenty of hope for Cub fans to be, a guy in your rotation, top of the rotation guy down the road. But I'm just using that as an example. This team can afford to give away someone in your top 100 for a key player. You talk about Ohapi from the Angels at the trade deadline, right? Like they can give away Triantos and whoever else for a catcher that might mix well with Miguel Amaya next year. You know what I mean? Like this team needs to be aggressive on the trade market. I've been saying that since last offseason. That's the biggest thing to me. If you're not going to go get Juan Soto, you got to get aggressive on the trade market, man. And get a guy who can hit the ball over the fence 40 times.
And it's not like you're saying none of the guys are going to leave and be good just because you traded them. Like you're saying, you've got to trade value to get value, or at least perceived value to get perceived value. So the ways that you make it feel better, one is what you're saying. Replace Jackson Ferris with more good pitching. And the more good pitching you have, even if he goes to the Dodgers and turns out to be a Hall of Famer, as Barb says, could happen. If he goes there and he turns out to be an ace someday, you can live with it if you have Horton develop, if you have your next pitcher develop, if you have Wicks turn out to be really good. Yeah. Like if those guys start to develop, you miss it less. Or the flip side is true. If Michael Busch comes over and helps you every day as an everyday player and turns out to be a really legit player, then you also have to live with that guy turning out to potentially be a pitcher. There's also the chance that neither side works, right? But like, you gotta have some stones. You got to go after it every once in a while.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's why they make millions of dollars. So when they are wrong, we definitely are going to criticize them. But also, when you're right, we'll definitely give you your flowers. There's plenty of things that Jed has done good, and it makes it hard for me to say that he's done his job completely, like just really bad. But he hasn't done enough to bring results to the major league team, and that's my biggest frustration when you entered an offseason last year after missing the playoffs because your team fell apart in September due to your own doing, really, and enter this season with higher expectations despite what the projections were, and the projection systems aren't wrong. This team is on pace to win 83 to 85 games.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, they weren't wrong, but Jed, why didn't you try to do more? And that's my biggest frustration with Jed. So he's got to save his job or whatever you want to call it this offseason and get that big bat, because as you scored 18 runs tonight, but shit, I won't be surprised if they score 2 tomorrow. Like this offense has been as inconsistent as ever.
I'll be surprised if they don't score like 1 or 2 tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's the way the season's gone.
Everyone in this YouTube chat watching right now is thinking the same thing.
Type money line splits. Bet on the Cubs not
Bet
scoring
on the
tomorrow.
Team total under for the Cubs tomorrow. Like I hate being this negative after winning 18-8, but this is where I'm at, man. All you had to do is go 5-1 and I wouldn't be like this. But you went 4-2 instead.
One game.
The white
game
flag
difference.
was waved.
You'd still be here.
You can't unwave it.
No, I'm not.
It has been waved.
I'm a man of integrity.
There it is.
Man of integrity.
What do you say? Nobody has more integrity.
No one has more integrity in this studio or in this office than me.
Nobody's more humble or has more integrity.
Absolutely not.
Just ask Cody.
Yeah.
I don't know. We didn't talk about it a ton at the beginning of the show, but also from this game, Isaac Paredes
homer.
hitting a homer.
He desperately needed that.
They need him. They need to get him going, man.
Yeah.
Like
it's been bad.
I don't remember exactly when it was, but obviously there was that point where he talked about. I think he hit a home run and then said after the game like that he felt like he had maybe been pressing a little bit, trying to impress the rest of the team, trying to do a little bit too much, but that didn't lead to like where he got back on track. I'm not saying this is going to be the one that gets him back on track, but like it's a good sign to see him hit one out of the ballpark. And I got the Cubs obviously hope that this is where he gets himself back on track, becomes the hitter that maybe he won't be the hitter that he was in Tampa Bay, but just a good middle of the order bat that's going to help this team win games down the stretch. Again, the Cubs aren't waving the white flag themselves, at least the coaches and the players. So getting Isaac Paredes going consistently, that going into September, that's huge because he's the guy they traded Morel for, right? This is the guy that they have in the middle of their order pretty much every game, and they really need him to be that middle of the order bat.
Morel hit a homer over the weekend. Cubs lost the trade.
Cubs lost the trade.
There 5 hits now, I think, since he went to Tampa Bay.
And I don't wish that for him either. It's been interesting to watch both guys really struggle since the trade, when people were all up in arms about it when it happened. And you look at it now, and neither one's made an impact on their team. Doesn't mean they won't, but I hope Christopher Morel goes on to do good things.
Oh, yeah,
even though Paredes hasn't hit consistently, to be fair, he did have a good week, the week they played the Twins and the White Sox. But I think defensively, outside of a few errors, he's made all of the easy plays, the routine plays that he's supposed to make. And then I think just his presence in the order has led to other guys in the lineup playing better too. Now, you can't measure that or anything like that, but if you just look at the Cubs offense before he was in the lineup or on the team, it was awful and even more inconsistent than now. But if you go back to when they made the trade for him and to now, the team overall on offense has been a lot better and more consistent, despite having a few duds in there like Sunday where they can't score any runs. So that doesn't take away my concerns about the offense once we get to the offseason. But I do think that at the very least, the lineup is a little bit more balanced, and you don't feel like it's the top 4 or 5 guys in your lineup. Like, of course, when PCA and Amaya are hitting the way they are, you feel like the whole lineup 1 through 9 is dangerous. But like, I think with Paredes in there and being able to move Horner and Swanson down to like 6 or to like 7 or 8, or I guess for them it's been 6 or 7. Like, I think those are better spots for them. And for half the season, Horner was hitting leadoff, which I didn't understand, like especially when the offense was playing so much better when Happ was leading off. Ever since Happ's been leading off, the offense has been better again. Like there's plenty of things, and I know injuries played a factor into a lot of it and stuff too, but that's the only thing that I feel like Paredes has been able to do offensively or provide offensively for the Cubs is you just feel like the lineup's a little bit more balanced. It's not top heavy. You're getting contributions from everyone.
And I'm not as panicked when the balls hit to third base.
Yeah, I think that's another thing.
To be totally honest, I don't think about it when the balls hit to third base. Doesn't mean he's not going to make an error sometimes, but I'm just way more confident that the ball is going to get picked up and thrown over to first base.
I do think that's a big problem. And that goes for any player. Like, if you're struggling offensively, at least play good defense.
Yes.
At least play good defense. I think he's provided that. I know he's had a couple errors since he's come that would definitely like to have back. But if you're struggling with the bat, at least play good defense. That's half the game, obviously, and that helps the pitcher. That helps the rest of the ball club, and could at least help lead to wins if you're not getting it done with the bat. And I think Paredes has done that for the most part.
As far as his defense, I think some of the plays that I've been at least impressed with or just feel okay about is the fact that he's really good at charging those those choppers to third, or like if they're not hit insanely hard. Like, it's not like he's Nolan Arenado in his prime over there, but he's making the plays and getting the out. And even Morel struggled with stuff like that. And as much as I wanted to see him continue to get those reps over there and everything, it was an experiment. And I don't feel like Paredes is an experiment. The thing, if Paredes doesn't work out, if we're sitting here in June next year and he's hitting 200 or whatever, then fine. We can start to really have the conversation about, like, was this a bad trade, especially if Morel bounces back next year, right? For sure. However, it's just too early for me to say one way or the other. It's been not even a month.
Yeah.
Not even a month. So I'm willing to wait it out with this bat, and the defense is fair enough. It's fine enough for me to be okay going into next season with him.
So you're comfortable with him at third base.
Yeah.
Like, whereas Morel, I do think there were some improvements, and like maybe there was times when it felt like he'd take a step back, but then you'd feel like I don't think we were like confident with Morel at third base, but I think we did see him improve at third base, but obviously not to the level they needed him to, especially when he was not getting the results at the bat. With Paredes, at least you feel comfortable with him at third base.
Yeah.
Defensively.
How about the week that we've had at ALLCITY is our parent company, right?
Yeah.
They started in Denver. Then they went to Phoenix. Then they came to Chicago. Then they went to Philly. Now, today, launching Dallas, DLLS. And more to come in the next year is what we're told. More networks coming. And we got on the Roku channel. So now you can also find us on Roku.
Oh, yeah.
Which is awesome. Especially, you got some older relatives like I do. Get them a Roku stick.
Yeah.
This is it. Here you go. You don't have to find YouTube and all these different things. It's easy.
Not everyone is like Barb and Godfather,
Listen, I give them both credit for this.
Right.
That they're here every day I wouldn't, at their age, I would not be doing it.
If my mom doesn't know how to use
it's fairly impressive.
YouTube on a regular basis, but Godfather and Barb do, they deserve a ton of credit for being able to get on here whenever we go live.
So we launched being on the Roku channel. We launched DLLS, and we have a new merch site with new merch dropping just today, right?
Yes, we dropped new merch today.
And what's the website? It's store.allcitynetwork.com.
Yeah.
And there's some new shirts and stuff available right at that website.
The website you just said, Luke, it just basically has the entire network.
Right.
Denver, Phoenix, Philadelphia, Chicago, and Dallas, all there. And once you go to that link or that website, you'll see the CHGO logo. So if you're listening or watching this right now, obviously you're a Cubs fan. So if you want to check out the new shirts for us, then you just click the CHGO logo that's on that website whenever you get there. And it's just like, how we used to do it, where, there's Bulls,
it used to be CHGO
Bears.
Locker. Now you just have to go to store.allcitynetwork.com. I think you could see all of them.
CHGOlocker.com still exists,
yes,
but it doesn't have our new shirts on it. At least that's how, when I went on there today, I didn't see our new shirts on there. So
Claws up.
Yeah.
I bet that's sold out before the season starts. Claws up.
Well, people should be getting I really like the North Side diehard.
The diehard in the Cubs colors.
Yeah, yeah. But I also really like the Red Stars one. It's like very Chicago with like that powder blue with the red stars in there. With
I do
white.
like the powder blue.
I do like that. Yeah.
Love it.
You can also get.
I love everything powder blue.
The blue shirt with is it red? That it's the Chicago flag for Cubs. Cubs we have a couple new shirts in the Cubs section. Claws up is there.
Shota's still there too. My Shota shirt came in last week. Wore it on one of our remote shows. Great shirt. So
I saw the slide one is on sale though. It's on sale.
I was watching in relation to DLLS. I was watching the Rangers podcast, the DLLS Rangers podcast this afternoon. Interesting team they got there. You remember Tigers legend Todd Jones?
Mm-hmm.
His daughter is one of the co-hosts for that podcast, who used to work for Bally Southwest or whatever.
Yeah, Bally Sports Southwest, I believe.
Yeah. So
they must have taken over after Fox Sports Southwest.
I guess. I don't know.
Rick Renner.
But it's very interesting. Like, the very beginning, they obviously kind of introduced themselves and stuff. So, if you know any Rangers fans, let them know.
Yeah, let them know DLLS exists.
Or if you want to just get in on the Cowboy conversation.
Oh.
Yeah. It's very cool.
CD.
Joey said Texas Longhorns.
Sorry. Yeah, Texas Longhorns. Sorry about that.
Don't forget. Hook 'em.
Who's their quarterback?
Horns down.
He'll be a top 3 pick, right?
Horns down.
What about Manning? For now. We'll see.
Anyway,
we're here after the game tomorrow too.
I'll say real quick, CHGO softball team 11-2W.
Breaking news almost.
Yeah, 11-2W from CHGO softball.
Wow, did it without you guys. No Joey, no Ryan.
I even wore my jersey just hoping that the Cubs would get under a 2-hour game. They decided to go. Yeah.
When do we play Odyssey?
Potentially in the championship game.
Yeah.
Maybe the championship.
Still the only real championship in this city over the last year.
It's the winningest team in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Facts are facts.
Facts are facts. Don't let them get in the way of a good story, brother.
Yeah. So 11-2 win. I think the next is the semifinals, I think. if I'm not mistaken.
What do we get? WGN? We get Kevin Wells?
I'm not sure.
Benedict Arnold?
Possibly,
playing for the other team?
Yeah. Benedict Wells.
Benedict Wells.
There you go. Shout out the softball team.
All right, so we're back after the game for a full hour again tomorrow. Then we have a matinee, of course, on Wednesday, the Skeens versus Hendricks matchup. Hope you'll join us then. Thanks to everybody in the live YouTube chat. Thanks for the super chats tonight. Make sure you check out the Roku channel that we are on now and all the new merch at store.allcitynetwork.com. Until tomorrow night on the postgame show after they score 2 runs, thanks for watching and fly the W.